What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be breaking down the best beginner heroes. We're going to be covering the best carries, the best mids, offlanes, and also supports. So we're going to be doing 2 heroes per category. Hopefully you guys do enjoy. Leave a comment down below and tell me which one is your favorite hero that you started with. And if you guys are new to Dota, let me know which hero you guys are finding that is the easiest for you to play and that you're enjoying the most. That is the question for today. And let's get straight into the video. So the first carry I want to introduce to you guys is Medusa. Now, a lot of people might think that Medusa looks very difficult. She might look very daunting to play, but Medusa is a very easy carry to get along with, especially because in low MMR, where you're going to be starting off in Herald and Guardian, these MMRs, you're not going to get focused as hard. You're going to have a lot more space to farm. You have your split shot to be able to take multiple creeps at the same time, and as your levels get better, you're going to farm even faster. So the key to playing carry when you're starting out in Dota is farming as much as possible and also being a good team fighter. Now, Medusa does those pretty well, and one of the reasons why she's been a good carry in the past few metas is because she's a really good hard carry, and if there's no anti-mage in the game or no natural diffusal buyers, she can feel very difficult to bring down, and sometimes in some games there's not the right lineup to take care of her. It can feel almost impossible to bring down this hero. And she could also fight with her team with thanks to her Aghanim Scepter and her Stone Gaze. She can fight early with her team. It's not something she wants to do, but it's something you can do if completely necessary. So it's a hero you need to try and you need to practice your farming patterns, but it's not a very difficult hero to start getting some basic value with, and thanks to your mana shield, it becomes very difficult to be taken down and being pushed out of the lane. But make sure your supports are getting mana boots, that way you can stay sustained, or pretty much anything that gives you mana regen that your team can get for you is going to be really good. Mana is pretty much your HP on this hero. The next carry I want to take a look at is Luna. Now Luna, almost same situation. You have a farming tool, which is your glaives, that helps you farm a lot faster. It also helps you do more damage in the team fights, as that's going to be bouncing from target to target if it's within its range. It's also really good up against illusion heroes because you're hitting multiple targets. You have Lunar Orbit in case you're going up against melee heroes and you need to man up, because Luna's range for a ranged hero is very small, so typically you're going pretty melee a lot of the time against these heroes. So having your Lunar Orbit for extra protection and extra damage is really nice. You also have your Eclipse, which is a devastating ultimate, especially if there's no illusion heroes. You can easily target heroes and win team fights off the back of this ultimate, so don't sleep on this ult. Luna is a very strong carry, especially if you practice with her. Her kit is super simple, so you don't have to worry about that. Just farm with your team and learn how to use your ultimate, and that's going to be very simple for you to be picking up wins on Luna, and you should always be one of the most farmed heroes in the game thanks to that. Very easy hero to play. Now for the mid lane, we're going to be talking about Tiny. Tiny, although not one of the easiest mid laners ever, Tiny can be very easy to understand. His combo is very simple, and the way you play him is something that you do need to evolve and you need to get better at, because playing very aggressive on Tiny can be quite difficult, but it's something that you can pick up within a few games. It's not something that it'll take you forever to learn. So playing Tiny, you win most of your matchups in the mid lane, so it's a very strong laner and also rotates very nicely thanks to your Avalanche Toss combo. That's the bane of a lot of heroes' existence. You can easily burst combo a lot of heroes in the game. This is what's going to give you that extra push, that extra momentum to your team, because you're going to be able to get a blink dagger very quickly if you're playing it from the mid lane, and you're going to be able to jump the back line, burst a support very quickly, and they're not going to see it coming. So it's a hero that once you practice that blink Abatos combo, you're going to have a really good time. You also have a very strong right click that can easily bring down towers very quickly. Your attack speed though is where you're hindered and where the hero's the weakest. Your attack speed is absolutely abysmal, so building attack speed if you want to play him right click is optimal, and your team can buff you up with heroes like Ogre Magi, which give you extra attack speed. Stuff like that, or with a Solar Crest, can be really good for the Tiny if you want to play him right click. Tiny is definitely one of the better heroes, and the more games you play on Tiny, the better you're going to play with him, and he is no joke. He's good in the early game, good in the mid game, good in the late game as well. The next mid laner we're going to be talking about is Sniper. Now Sniper is pretty much everyone's favorite mid laner, especially when they're starting off to playing Dota, and for a good reason. The hero's very simple to play, does a lot of damage, and is extremely annoying to go up against. Shrapnel is really annoying, and the headshot procs is very frustrating to go up against. You keep getting headshot proc. I've been tilted so many times by this, it's honestly very annoying. It's a hero that is a glass cannon, so if there isn't a lot of heroes on the enemy team that can buy a blink dagger, or there's no heroes that have a lot of mobility spells, Sniper feels really good to play with, just because you can get away from sticky situations. They can't really jump the back line, and that's where you start doing a ton of damage. That's your bread and butter, and that's something you need to be good at, is your positioning. But if you have good positioning on sniper, you're going to be getting the most kills on the map, hands down, and you're not going to be struggling so much on the hero. And in low MMR, people don't really prioritize the sniper. They really struggle, and it can be really scary to be playing up against a sniper. So it's a hero I do recommend you guys to play him. Very fragile, but very good at defending the high ground. Very, very strong, and it's a very good hero to play if you can position properly. Highly recommend the hero, and his kit is extremely bare bones, extremely simple, so you cannot struggle with this hero. You will be winning a lot more MMR and climbing with a hero like Sniper. Now let's take a look at the offlane. You have Underlord. Underlord has Pit of Malice to Root, which is a big AoE, which is going to be really good to set up for your Firestorm. Your Firestorm is going to be the way that you do most of your damage. It's also going to be the way that you farm, so you can easily push waves. Underlord is a very, very reliable offlaner, very, very tanky and very hard to deal with, and the hero provides a lot of utility to his team thanks to Fiend's Gate. Fiend's Gate, you're able to move across the map with a portal. You're able to create that, and you're also able to go back through it and go back to where you were. So a lot of times your team might be in a sticky situation. You use your Fiend's Gate, you get across, and then you win or lose the team fight or whatever it may be. And then if it's still within that time frame, you can go back and still take the portal and get out of there, or maybe just bail and get out and get to a better position, and that way you're not wasting a teleport scroll, which can be very, very good. Also, the hero's atrophy aura is damage reduction and bonus damage to himself, so the hero does a lot of damage and provides that damage reduction, which for a lot of these agility carries and right click heroes in the safe lane, they can definitely struggle against a hero like Underlord, and the amount of damage that comes out from Firestorm is very, very difficult to deal with. Just make sure you have enough mana, as the hero can have a little bit of mana issues, but can be solved by going with a soul ring or a wand or mana boost. Now the next offlaner we're going to be taking a look at is Centaur. Now Centaur is a very classic offlane hero, very, very simple to play. You have stun, you have your ultimate, which can get you out of sticky situations and can also help you engage. So it's a very fast movement speed boost that you're able to get, which means you can get into the fight better or you can get out of the fight. It can easily be used either way, offensive or defensive. The hero also doesn't have a whole lot of bad lane matchups thanks to your double edge and your retaliate. So retaliate basically returns a lot of the damage that's coming your way. So a lot of squishy heroes in the lane don't really want to trade with Centaur because it's not very beneficial for them. It has been nerfed in the past, so it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still really good, especially against creeps. It helps you farm a little bit faster, and your double edge is the way you secure kills in the lane. It does damage to yourself as well, but it's still really good. You're able to also farm with that if need be, but that is the way you're going to be getting kills in the laning phase, especially if you're going up against melee heroes. You're going to have a really good time on the Centaur, and if you build a bunch of bracers, you can just stay in the lane and farm as much as you want, and it can be very tough to take care of a hero like this with how tanky you are and how much damage you actually do. And it's a hero that provides a lot of auras for his team. You typically like to buy items like Pipe, Guardian Greaves, Vanguard that turns into a Crimson Guard. It's a lot of aura items to buff up your team and buff the way they play the fight, and that is pretty much your role. You're an initiator because you typically like to buy a Blink Dagger, and then you use your Hoof Stomp, which is your stun, and you're able to set up for your team. Now let's talk about the supports. So the supports I've chosen is Ogre Magi. Ogre Magi is honestly one of the easiest supports to play, and it's a hero that can actually be played in the offlane as well. So very versatile hero, and I do recommend you guys to play this hero. You have a very strong stun in Fire Blast. You have your Ignite, which is extremely annoying, does a hell of a lot of damage, provides slow and damage over time on your Ignite. You also have your Bloodlust, which is a great buff. This is what I was talking about earlier. It gives attack speed and movement speed to your allies, and if you multicast it, which is your ultimate, it means you can get the buff for yourself and for your team as well. So a lot of utility coming out of this hero, and very simple to play, very tanky. You typically want to use Ogre Magi with heroes like Drow Ranger or heroes like Morta Lina, these ranged heroes that want to have a very strong support on their side and a very tanky hero to be able to take most of the hits for them. This is what Ogre Magi is really good for. Since he's a strength hero, he's super tanky, and he's able to take the trades and give your team that upper advantage and do a ton of damage with his Ignite and set up the team fights. And with the multicast, you can multicast a lot of things like Midas, so if you are playing offlane, you can be a very farmed offlaner with the multicast. So very simple hero to play, and a hero you definitely want to pick in your lineup so you can get a ton of value. And in the ultra late game, he also is no joke. If you build a lot of core items, there is a lot of very cool builds for the ultra late game for the Ogre Magi. Very strong hero. And the last hero of today's video is going to be Shadow Shaman. So Shadow Shaman is a very popular hero pretty much across all MMRs. The hero can do so much for his team. You got snakes, you have shackles, you have Hex. These are three very, very strong abilities that are very important for the Shadow Shaman. Your snakes is what's going to help you win the team fight in terms of locking someone down, or it could help you push high ground because these snakes do quite a bit of damage to structures, also doing quite a bit of damage in the early game, so you can easily shackle someone inside with the snakes, and then you can get a lot of solo kills. A lot of good Shadow Shaman players will buy a Blink Dagger with Ether Lens and go for a lot of solo pickoffs. As long as they have their ultimate ready to go, they can get a lot of kills around the map, and it can be very, very fun to play this hero. And then you have shackles and you have your Hex, so a lot of utility coming out of the Shadow Shaman, and he can be very, very annoying, especially heroes like Morphling, heroes like Faceless Void. These heroes that don't want to be locked down can have a lot of issues with a good Shadow Shaman player, so I highly recommend you guys practice this hero, as it does take a little bit to position yourself properly and really understand how to play the hero a little bit better. The more games you play on the hero, the better you're going to become, but he has a very simple kit and it's just going to get better from there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, leave a comment down below and tell me which one was your favorite hero that we featured today, and consider subscribing and joining the Dota Chronicles community. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.